Hello guys, it is week 6 of this diary of a first-time property developer. Alright guys, just a little bit of housekeeping. I've had 3 phone calls this week from people saying that they've watched the videos and that they're enjoying the videos and all that sort of thing, which I do really appreciate. Guys, you can comment on here. It will really help, I think, to start getting some more interaction in the comments and all stuff like that. Like I say, I really do appreciate all the feedback. If you can find a time just to drop something in the comments, that would be really appreciated. Thank you. I think I'm going to have to start splitting these videos a bit into progress on the building and progress on the business. So this week, progress on the building has been slow, basically stopped, because we need to order some stills and materials and get the guys back onto site. But in terms of building the business, it's been quite a good week. We have had further talks with some investors. We have had some interest in selling the building as a whole, and hopefully we would be able to forward sell it, so sell it before it's totally complete. If that is the case, then hopefully we'd be able to get some sort of deposit, and obviously that injection of cash could be used for either completing the building a bit more without taking some of the finance, or preferably it could be used as part of a deposit on another site. So in terms of another site, we have actually started looking. We went to visit one on Thursday, which, if everything stacks up, looks like a very good opportunity. So the building is similar to the building that we're currently doing, in as much as it's got a structure made of, in the case of our first building, a steel structure and then infilled with block and brick, whereas this one would be a structure of reinforced concrete and again infilled with brick and blocks. So the reason that I think that those are a good option for us is because there's not much structural. Obviously we are taking out a couple of bits that have turned out to be structural in our current building, but in theory, when they have these when the structural integrity is either steel or concrete frame, then it is a frame, and most of the internal layout can be rejigged without too much structural work. So I think those are a good option for us. The building that we looked at, again, I can only say think at the moment, because what I am finding out is a lot of these floor plans and measurements that we're getting, they seem to be quite loosely based, but it seems that it could well be a little bit bigger. So hopefully hopefully we'll be able to get 8 to 9 units in, but I'll know more about that on Wednesday when we have a meeting with our architect. So Wednesday we've got a meeting with the architect, designer, and we've also got a meeting with our planning consultant, so we can just iron out if we could see that there's any problems that may arise with the site in terms of getting planning. The only thing so far, the building sort of looks like an upside down building, so it's built into a hill. You've got an upstairs, which is the second floor, that is at ground level from the back of the building. So our only real concern is that the first floor from the back, you may not get very much light into there, which can all be rectified. We would just put in bigger windows, and if anything we could just excavate to sort of get a bit of like a light well in there. The only thing is external changes mean a full planning app, and that isn't really what we want to be doing at the moment. We'd much prefer these conversions because they are 56 days in planning. Maybe I can also tell you about how we're going to be building out the building in Edenbridge. We are going to have the existing concrete floor. We're then going to build our stud walls off of the concrete floor. Where they're partitioned between communal areas or other flats, the walls are going to go all the way down to the existing floor, including the plasterboard, the sound deadening, the fireproofing, and all of those materials. I've been told that the partitions within the flats, we won't have to build it all the way down, so the frame will go all the way down, but then the floors can run throughout the flats, and then we'll just build our plasterboard, insulation and everything up off of the base floor level. I'm going to speak to the architect and the builder to see whether, if we did build it all the way down, if it would have any better effect for the building or not. To be honest, I don't think it really will, because these are open plan. You know, the kitchen and everything is open plan. The sleeping area is divided off. There's currently not going to be a door into the sleeping area, so I don't really think that it will make any difference. The only place may be, obviously the toilet is completely, bathroom, it's completely sealed off, so might see if it's worth just, for those couple of walls, just running everything right down to the floor and up to the ceiling. So that's how we're going to form our walls. The floors, we are going to have 50 by 50 batten, and then we're going to use a insulation called, I think it's called Superfoil. It's like a quilted insulation roll, and that will get us to the U value we need. The reason that we're going to use that is because you get a lot higher insulation value than you do from the Celotex for the same thickness. That's what I'm being told, and that's what I've kind of seen on the websites anyway. On top of that, we will then fit 22mm chipboard flooring, the floorboard, and then we'll have our finished floor over the top. Between the chipboard and the finished floor, I think we're now going to go for electric underfloor heating. We were hoping to do a wet system. We then thought that we would probably go for radiators, and now we're thinking that we'll probably go for the underfloor heating. We're looking to that because we think that the running costs may be less for the new owners, and the cost of installation so far seems comparable. You can buy the kits fairly cheaply, and the electric radiators, for what they are, seem very expensive. So I don't know if that's just because there's more components. If you think about what actually is needed to make a electric radiator, I don't know if there's a lot more components than in an underfloor heating system, where really, again, I'm not an expert on this, but it seems to be just a wire sort of filament. So it might well be the best option all round, I think. to me, if we can get underfloor heating, and it just means that the whole floor then becomes a radiator. So I think that is why it's more efficient. I wondered what to say on the video this week, because as I've said, I need to split out the progress on the building compared with the progress in the business in general, because it does feel, it doesn't feel good not having progress on the build, but that doesn't mean that we're not making progress, and I think that's a bit of a mindset thing, which is something I'm quite interested in. I do like watching other people that do YouTube that to me seem fairly successful, and then yet when you hear from the outside, and yet when you hear them talk, they don't always sound as sure as you think that they would. So from the outside it looks like they're steaming ahead and they're doing this and they're doing that, and when they actually come to talk about it, it's a bit like the old analogy of a duck. It looks nice and calm on the surface, but underneath it the legs are going 10 to the dozen. So yeah, the mindset thing is something that I'm quite interested in. I do want to just say though, if I am sounding like all doom and gloom, that's not how I feel. It's 1 week of not working. It's not going to it's not really, in the grand scheme of things, going to have a detrimental effect, but you might as well learn from having a week's delay. You know, I'd rather have a week's delay and learn something that's going to mean that I don't have a 6-month delay later down the line. And I think about that a lot when if I have something that costs me money, if I make a mistake and it costs me £1,000, well, I'd much rather learn early on the £1,000 than later down the line and learn on something that's costing me £10,000, £20,000 or more. So that's always how I like to think about things.